far above the Arctic Circle, where daylight dances endlessly in summer and the snow whispers across frozen landscapes in winter, there lies a beach unlike any other. It isn't marked on any tourist map. There are no signs pointing the way. It's the kind of place locals pretend not to know about, have to protect it, have to preserve the mystery. But word travels, whispers grow, and over the years, one phrase has become legend across scattered mining communities and gem hunters alike. Everyone who comes to this beach takes away a bunch of gems. The place? An island, remote and quiet, nestled in the Gulf of Bothnia off the northern coast of Finland. Some say it's part of the Kvarken archipelago, hidden behind thick pine groves and icy fogs. Others swear it doesn't exist on official maps at all, appearing only under certain solar conditions, when the skies turn purple and the northern lights sweep low over the sea. I had heard the tales in fragments. An old rockhound in Lapland spoke of it over a campfire, his fingers twinkling with rings made from stones he refused to name. A Finnish folklorist called it Helmi's Sari, which translates loosely to Gem Island. A wandering YouTuber from the Baltics claimed he had stumbled upon it while kayaking during the midnight sun, and had filled an entire backpack with what he believed were sapphires. With a burning mix of doubt and hope, I set out to find this place. My compass pointed north, my backpack packed lightly. What I didn't expect was how the journey would unfold. Not like a trip, but like stepping into a dream where time no longer matters and the earth begins to speak in colors. Reaching the suspected location wasn't easy. I boarded a local fishing vessel from a village with fewer than 100 people. The captain, a silent man with eyes like melted ice, didn't ask questions. He merely nodded when I mentioned the beach and gestured toward the fog. The boat cut through silver waves, and after nearly 2 hours, the fog lifted just enough to reveal a sliver of land bathed in golden light. The island appeared ordinary at first glance, a crescent of pine trees surrounding a strip of sand, worn smooth by centuries of wind. But as we pulled ashore and I stepped onto the beach, the ground sparkled. Literally. The sand wasn't gray or tan. It was flecked with specks of red, green, blue, and gold. I crouched down and scooped a handful of it. Among the tiny grains were tiny stones, gems, polished smooth, warm from the sun. Some were no larger than peas, others like marbles. My eyes widened as I turned my hand in the light. This wasn't a hoax. This wasn't a story. This was real. I began to walk the beach slowly. Every few steps, another stone would catch my eye. A blood-red garnet, a soft sea-blue chalcedony, a piece of amber glinting like frozen honey. The variety was astonishing. Some were embedded in the sand, others resting loosely as if they had been scattered by hand. I saw one group of stones arranged in a crescent shape, too perfect to be random. It was as if the island itself wanted me to notice. I wasn't alone. At the far edge of the beach, near the tree line, I saw footprints, recent, heading toward a large cluster of boulders. Following the trail, I discovered what could only be described as a small shrine. Stones, carefully placed on flat rocks, formed spiral patterns. In the center lay a bowl carved from birchwood, and inside were 5 glowing stones, white, blue, red, green, and golden yellow. Each one shimmered faintly, and none were touched by dust. Someone had placed them there, maybe as an offering, maybe as a message. I spent hours on that beach, hands brushing through sand like a child in a treasure hunt. The stones seemed endless. There was no digging required. They lay right on the surface, as if refreshed by every tide. The strangest thing? None of the stones had sharp edges. All were tumbled smooth, but not by machines or rivers. Here, where no large waves existed and the land was calm and quiet. The polishing seemed unnatural, or maybe sacred. When I met a group of local foragers 2 days later on the mainland, they confirmed what I had begun to suspect. "It's the Earth's pocket," said one woman, wrapping mushrooms in moss. "It drops what it wants to share, but never more than you need." Another added, "No one takes too much. If you take more than 10 stones, something follows you back. Whether superstition or something deeper, I listened. The next morning, I returned and watched the tide roll in. It was gentle, rhythmic, like the breath of a sleeping world. As the water receded, new stones were revealed. Tiny aquamarines, deep indigo fluorites, smoky quartzes that danced with rainbows when held up to the sun. I gathered a modest handful, 10 stones, no more, and placed the rest back exactly where I found them. I sat near the edge of the forest and noticed something else. Small pits in the sand where others had knelt before me. People had come here. Quietly, respectfully. There was no trash, no human marking, no greed. Just footsteps and silence. On the third day, something incredible happened. At dawn, under a sky glowing pink with Arctic haze, I witnessed what the locals had described. The stone rain. It wasn't literal rain, but rather a phenomenon where, during a brief shift in temperature and wind, the sand shimmered in motion as if something underneath stirred. Tiny gems would rise slightly to the surface, drawn up by moisture, wind, or perhaps the unseen pull of magnetism. I watched in awe as a thin layer of garnets and peridot pushed upward, scattering across the beach like seeds in a breeze. The spectacle lasted maybe 15 minutes, and then it was gone. Some scientists might explain this away. Periglacial activity, frost heave, differential density shifts. Maybe, but there's something poetic in not needing the science to believe in the magic. That night, I sat by the fire, holding the 10 stones I had chosen. Each one was different, but they felt connected, as if selected for me. I didn't know their scientific names, but I didn't need to. In that moment, they weren't just minerals. They were memories. Each one represented a moment of quiet joy, of discovery, of connection with a place that defies modern explanation. When I left the island, I did so quietly. No stones were disturbed. No samples taken for profit. Only the 10 gems in my pouch and a notebook full of memories. The boatman nodded silently as we departed. He didn't ask what I found. He didn't need to. Weeks later, back home, I tried to show the stones to a gemologist. She identified a few, some standard, others rare, but one she couldn't place. "It's like a hybrid," she said, holding a lavender-tinted gem up to a light. Natural, but also impossible. She handed it back carefully, as if it didn't belong in a lab. And maybe it didn't. To this day, the beach remains unnamed. Those who know it don't speak of it publicly. It exists in whispers, passed among people who understand that not all treasure comes with price tag. It's not a tourist attraction. It's a spiritual space where earth sheds its jewels like a tree drops leaves. Seasonally, naturally, beautifully. So is it real? Yes. Is it an island in northern Finland? Perhaps. Or perhaps it's more than that, a living reminder that the earth still holds mysteries, still offers gifts freely, so long as we meet them with humility. Everyone who comes to this beach takes away a bunch of gems. But the real treasure is the silence, the reverence, the connection, and maybe, just maybe, the quiet understanding that we are not separate from nature's wonders, but part of them.